The first presentation is about the global state of scams, but before I start, maybe tell a little bit more about ScamAdviser. Our mission is to prevent consumers from getting scammed, and we were founded in 2012 by Mark, a developer from the UK. And the reason he started ScamAdviser was he bought a golf set online and it proved to be a fake. And as many of you know that if a developer gets angry, nothing is as dangerous as an angry developer. So he started to develop an algorithm to determine what's the likelihood of this website being either legit or a scam. And that turned into ScamAdviser.com. So if you go to ScamAdviser.com, you can type in a domain name, and then we give every domain name a score, a trust score. 1 meaning very, very, very likely a scam, and 100 very, very likely legit. And the reason why we use very, very is very simple. That's legal. If we say something is a scam, we're legally accountable. Well, if we say it's very likely to be a scam, we're not. And we also explain to consumers why we think this website we're researching is either legit or a scam. And at the moment, we add about 1 million new domain names every month to our database. It's an incredible number, and it keeps growing. So we do not do this alone. I mean, we do not only depend on an algorithm, because like humans, algorithms are not make mistakes. So we work together with more than 50 different companies like APWG and the Global Cyber Alliance, but also consumer authorities, commercial companies, security companies like Trend Micro, and together we share as much as possible data on scammers. It allows ScamAdviser to improve its algorithm, but it allows law enforcement and consumer authorities to identify scam networks and act accordingly. Maybe taking one step back, what are scams? If you go to Trustpilot or SiteJabber and you look up ASOS.com or Apple.com, you will see very negative reviews. But we all know these organizations are not scams. They sometimes provide very bad service. So how we define scams is by saying that a consumer or actually a business is being tricked into giving his access to his credit card details or to his data, and as a result is losing that because he does not receive a product or service which is being promised to him. That can mean that no service or product is provided, or something which is in no way related to the original offering. What we've noticed is that cybercrime is very much related to scams. We see that the same organizations which are executing an online shopping scam, not delivering products, might also have a banking site, phishing for credit card details, or actually be involved in hacking or DDoS attacks or malware. So we see that one organization might be involved in a lot of different activities: scams, phishing, and cybercrime in general. So, of course, some scams are very obvious. I mean, if you see my screen, you will see that we got a lot of questions about this website. And I have to say, especially from males, with the question, hey, is this legit? Can I really earn money? Well, unfortunately, you cannot. But otherwise, scammers are really pretty smart and are always using the vulnerabilities of specific people. What we've noticed recently is since June, we saw a sharp increase in the number of websites offering abortion pills. And they were especially targeting people in Texas. And as you may know, Texas introduced legislation making it illegal to buy abortion pills. And scammers were acting on that. And so in that we see continuously that scammers are always find ways to find you when you're vulnerable. And idea that only people with a low education or people who are stupid fall for scams is absolutely not true. We all receive emails where it says that, hey, congratulations, you won $1 billion in a lottery in which you never participated. Please send me your credit card details and your passport, and we will transfer the money. Those kind of scams are not meant for us. They're sent to everybody in the hope that 1 in 100,000 falls for it. What we see also more and more happening is what we see as so-called pig butchering scams, where the cyber criminal really takes the time to manipulate you, not in a week, not in a month, but taking 3 months time to build up a relation, or 6 or even 12 months. And actually you're being fattened up like a pig until the question comes, hey, I would like to come to you and I would like to visit you, but I need some money to buy a passport or a visa. Or, hey, I made a great investment. I made a 20% return on investment in the last few months. Why don't you join? And then you lose your money. So we often do surveys amongst our visitors, and what we've learned is that 76% of the consumers think they are able to recognize scams quite well. Unfortunately, that same group, 73% fell for a scam in the last few years, meaning that while they think they're able to identify scams quite good, they still fall for it, and they lose money or personal data. What we do see is that there's a difference in motivation. We see people with a lesser income. They often go for the easy money, the lure of money being offered in the scam. While people with a higher education or higher income, they also fall for scams, but they are more willing to take risks. So they are quite aware that it might be a scam, but they're willing to lose $100. So enough about ScamAdviser and about scams in general. Let's zoom in on the state of scams of the last year. This is the third time we're doing this study where we're trying to determine what the global state of scams is. And this year we researched 42 different countries, seeing how are governments and other authorities trying to find scams, how many scams are reported, and in the end, how much money is being lost. And this year, the amount was staggering. We added up all the countries and we came up with a total sum of money being lost in scams of 41.3 billion euros. That's nearly $50 billion, a growth of 15% compared to the year before. If you look at the number of reports, it's even more staggering. Last year, 139 million reports were filed with law enforcement and other government organizations. And please remember that depending on the country, only 3 to 13% of all scams are actually reported. So this is only a small fragment. The number of reports this year, and I have to say that's thanks to Corona, has increased to 266 million, a growth of 93%. What we see is that the growth is especially strong in developing countries, like in Africa and in the Middle East, where due to Corona, people for the first time had to go to the internet to do their shopping. And these people are especially vulnerable to scammers because they're not used to the typical online scams we are all confronted with. However, also other countries in Western Europe, in the USA, in North America, and in Asia had very sharp growth rates, up to 30, 40, or even 70%, like in Poland. The Corona epidemic brought us new scams, but actually they're old scams with a new twist. We've all been, excuse me, familiar with the mask scams, where we're being offered fake masks or simply masks which are never delivered, disinfectants. But scammers are very entrepreneurial, so they quickly moved also to the charities, saying that we want to support people who are fighting scams, or we want to support healthcare. We also saw a huge increase in the number of puppy scams. A lot of people were bored at home in lockdown, and they decided to buy a puppy online. And of course, that puppy never arrived. And many people were actually scammed twice, because after the puppy was sold, they got an email that, hey, the puppy is now at customs at the airport, but customs, you need to pay a custom fee. And it's very hot, so can you please pay the money quickly so that the dog can be released? And that's the second time you're being scammed. We also saw a sharp increase in other scams, which at least I didn't expect, like driver's license. So a lot of young people wanted to get their driver's license, but they couldn't do the exam. As a result, scammers started offering fake driver's license. And many of them, of course, are never delivered, because you will never ever go to the police saying, I bought a fake driver's license online and it wasn't delivered. Can you help me? And finally, we saw a lot of investment scams. I mean, we are living in a zero interest economy, at least many of us, and males were bored during Corona, so they started to invest online. And I'm sorry, it's mainly males. And we lost money there. What we're seeing is that scammers are incredible entrepreneurial. And as many of you are familiar with the popular Netflix series, Squid Games, and scammers launched a website offering a crypto token for a new Squid Game online game where you needed squids to then pay for. And within 5 days, they were able to grab $3.4 million. And that was 26th of October. And on the 1st of November, the scam broke, but the money was gone. So we see that scammers are professionalizing very rapidly. They're doing their scams more personalized. They're using Facebook data and other social media to not only know your name, but also the names of your family and friends, and making the scam much more personal. They're localizing more and more. Even Finland, with only 5 million inhabitants, now has phishing emails in perfect Finnish. And we see that they're targeting much more on elderly people, but also on my son, who is 12 years old and a big Roblox fan. Even he gets messages from fake Roblox websites trying to lure him to give daddy's PayPal account or his account data. What we see that many countries are saying that building consumer awareness around scams and cybercrime is not enough. It's a start, but it's not enough, because scammers are continuously changing their tricks. We see that countries are becoming very creative in fighting scams. Ireland, for example, is posting a new type of scam every week. And they're using that in close cooperation with the Irish media. Taiwan, the government of Taiwan has opened up its data to both non-profit as well as commercial organizations, allowing them to develop new products and new services to protect consumers. We see Pakistan launching a program called Cyber Scouts, excuse me. And that program allows you, trains people, both law enforcement, consumers, as well as children. And it's a trainer program, because these children are then educating their parents on how to be safe online. And we have many other examples. Iran launched two-factor authentication for banking apps, reducing phishing scams in banking with 90% in 1 year. We see Belgium, the Cybersecurity Center of Belgium, launching an email address where consumers can report phishing emails. And they're receiving hundreds of thousands of emails every month, allowing them to share those phishing emails again with internet service providers in Belgium to make the internet a safer place. And finally, Japan is even more creative. Their municipality is paying scam victims to trick the scammer. How it works is that if a scammer is approaching a person and the victim then contacts the police, and the scammer is caught together with the potential victim, the victim receives a small amount as a thank you. So how can we turn the tide? What should we do with all the knowledge we now have in the Global State of Scam report? More education remains essential. I mean, that's what all the countries are currently investing in. But there are other things which are necessary as well. One is easier reporting. In some countries, you have to travel sometimes hundreds of kilometers to report a scam. And often you're being turned down by the local police office with the message that you should have known better. Why are you scammed at all? And making reporting easier allows us to get much more data and identify scammers much more quickly. And that's also what we need to do on a national level. We need to share data better. In the Netherlands, where I live, there are 17 different organizations involved in reporting scams. 17 organizations where you can report scams. And they're not yet sharing that data very well. Apart from sharing data on a national level, we also need to share it more on a global level. And there, I think the Federal Trade Commission and the, for example, the Australian Commission for Competition and Consumers are taking great steps. They have started sharing data. And that's what we are doing we're trying to achieve with the Global Online Scam Summit as well. Sharing knowledge, sharing data together. And with that, I would like to conclude my presentation.